Krishna, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances of Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our evening Bhagavad Gita hearing from Srila Prabhupada. Today we continue with Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verses 24 and 25. And we are going to ask the devotees to please increase your volume, because sometimes the recording can be poor. And also requesting devotees to try to take at least one takeaway that we can at least share at the end of the class and discuss. And we learn from each other. Without further delay, we will go straight into the class. Hari Bol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam Ukto Rishikesho Purakeshena Bharata Senayo Ubayor Madhye Stapayatva Ratottamam Sanjaya Uvacha Evam mukto Hrishikesho Kurakeshena Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratottamam Sanjaya Uvacha Evam mukto Hrishikesho Kurakeshena Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratottamam Sanjaya Uvacha Evamukto Hrishikesho Kurakeshena Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratottamam Sanjaya Uvacha Evam mukto Hrishikesho Kurakeshena Bharata Senayor Ubayor Madhye Stapayitva Ratottamam Bhishmadrona Pramukata Sarvesham Cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Patha Pashyaitan Samavitan Kurun Iti Bhishmadrona Pramukata Sarvesham cha mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavitan Kuruniti Bhishmadrona Pramukhatak Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti Bhishmadrona Pramukhatak Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti Sanjaya Uvacha said Evam thus Uktaha addressed Rishikesha Lord Krishna Kurakeshena by Arjuna Bharata O descendant of Bharata Senayo of armies Ubhayo of both Madhye in the midst of Stapayatva by placing Ratottamam the finest chariot. Translation Sanjaya said, O descendant of Bharata, being thus addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Bhishma, Drona, grandfather Bhishma, Drona, the teacher Drona, Pramukhataha, in the front of, Sarvesham, all, Cha, also, Mahikshitam, chiefs of the world, Uvacha, said, Partha, O Partha, son of Pritha, Pashya, just behold, Etan, all of them, Samavetan, assembled, Kurun, all the members of the Kuru dynasty, Iti, thus. Translation in the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, Rishikesha, the Lord, said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus who are assembled here.
So, Sanjaya Uvacha, actually, Sanjaya, the secretary of Dhritarashtra, he is releasing the activities in the battlefield. Dhritarashtra is blind. How in the battlefield the fighting was going on, Sanjaya was observing, either by television or a similar method. Otherwise, how he could explain things are going on in the battlefield, in the room. This Bhagavad Gita, Sanjaya explained all activities in the battlefield to Dhritarashtra within the room. So, there must have been something like television, or higher than the television, he was seeing within himself everything. So scientific improvement is coming, but still on the material platform. Material means gross material and subtle material. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhumirapo nalo vayu kham mano buddhiriyocha ahankara iti me prakriti bhinna asudha. Earth, water, fire, air, sky. These five elements are gross material. Everyone can see gross. We can see earth, we can see water, we can see fire, air, or we can perceive the sky also. But there are subtle matter also. Mind, intelligence, we cannot see the mind. We cannot see intelligence. I understand that you have got intelligence. Or everyone knows we have got mind. But we cannot see. This is subtle. They are also matter. Subtle matter. So, the television is a machine made of gross matter. But there is possibility of making another machine of subtle matter. There is possibility. Because matter, they are also matter. That subtle matter machine is not yet discovered. But here we can see the subtle matter discovery was there. Otherwise, how Sanjaya could see the activities in the battlefield? This is to be understood. They are very much proud of material advancement of science, but still they have to make advance. Subtle matter. And above that subtle matter, within that subtle matter, there is spiritual identity. Indriyani pararaho, indriyava paramana, manasastu para, buddhi. First of all, we can see a person. A person we see, what we see? The senses. But we cannot see the director of the senses. The director of the senses is the mind. And the director of the mind is intelligence. And the owner of the intelligence is the soul. This is understand. The soul is there. Whose intelligence? As soon as we shall say intelligence, whose intelligence? That is the soul's intelligence. Where from the intelligence is coming? From Paramatma, Rishikesha. Therefore this word is used here, Rishikesha. The intelligence will come from Paramatma. Otherwise, we cannot act. Just like a child has got intelligence, but it is guided by the parent's intelligence. Might have said, do like this, and he does it. Similarly, we have got all this mind, intelligence, everything, but that is being guided by the super intelligence, Krishna. Therefore he is called Rishikesha. Once we have explained Rishikesha, so we have to reach that platform where we can talk with Rishikesh. That is a spiritual platform. That is possible. The more you become purified, you can talk with Rishikesh, who is within yourself. He is not outside. Although he is Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna is always in Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. But because he is Krishna, he can remain with you also at the same time, simultaneously. This is Krishna. Golokaiva nivasati akhilatma bhuta. Goloko nam nijadham nitale chatasya. Devi mahesha haridhamusu tesu tesu. Te te prabhava nichaya vihitasya jena. Govindamadi purisam tamaham bhaja. It is proposed our Mayapur temple will be on this plan. Goloko namni nijadhamni tale chatas. The highest planetary system, spiritual, that is spiritual planet, that is named Golokonam, Golok Vrindavan. We have given that picture in the Bhagavad cover, perhaps you know. The topmost original planet is the Goloka. Golokonamni Nijadhamni, that is the abode of Krishna, Krishna Dham. Krishna Dham. People are searching after God. But actually there is the planet where God lives, Krishna lives. But you have got your machine, aeroplane, Sputnik. You can reach there, but you cannot reach even the highest planet, even on this material planet, material universe. The highest, everyone see, we see the stars or planets. Now you have got the machine, you go there. No, you cannot go. You are so limited. Even you cannot go to the moon planet, which is so nearest. You cannot go. But still we are proud of these airplanes, Sputniks. We are thinking now we have become God. These rascals, they do not know what is God. They are all rascals. They have no idea what is God. Therefore, they have accepted another rascal as God. This is going on. You cannot reach panthastu koti shatavatsa sampragamya vayu rathapi manasu munipungavara sappasti japrapadasina avicintata. Shastra gives you, just like your material science also gives you information that there is one planet, highest planet, and one can go there by Sputnik in 40,000 of years. Now he is going to live 40,000 years to reach there. But they have got theoretically all these things. The highest planet, material, that is not spiritual. So after finishing this material world, there is covering of the universe. Stock matter, Mahattva, where from all this material comings, there is stock. So you have to penetrate through that stock material. And each layer of stock is 10 times more than the other. So you have to pierce through the stock, material stock, then you reach the spiritual world. And the spiritual world, there are many. Many means 3 times more than these universes. This universe, this material universe, is only 1/4 manifestation of Krishna's creation. Ekangsena sthito jagat. When Arjuna inquired from Krishna, so would you kindly explain little of your opulence? Yes. So he said, I am this, out of this I am this. And so he summarized, Atva bahunayitena kingyatena tabarjana vishtabhya aham idam sarvam ekangsena sthito jagat. Ekangsena. You are seeing this universe. This universe only a fragment of the material creation. A fragment. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed us. One of his devotees requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, you have come personally, you kindly take all the living entities to the spiritual world, be kind enough upon them. And if you think that they are so sinful they cannot be taken, then transfer all their sins unto me. You take. You take. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile that even if I take all the living entities of the universe, but do you know, this universe is only one fragmental part of all other universes. There are many other universes. And he compared that in a bag where a bag full of mustard seeds, just imagine a big bag and mustard seeds. And this universe is just like one mustard seed. There are so many universes. So many universes. And it is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Jasya prabha prabhavatu jagadanna koti. Jagadanda. Jagadanda means this universe. Brahmanda, Jagadanda. Koti. Innumerable. Jagadanda koti. Jasya prabha prabhavatu jagadanna koti. Kotishu asresha. Vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam. And each universe, there are innumerable planets. And each planet is different from other. This is God's creation. And these rascals are manufacturing God. And there is another description also. Jasyaika nishasita kalam athavalamba jivanti loma vilaja jagadanda natha. This Jagadanda, the universe, and there in each universe there is a controller of the universe, Brahma. He is called Jagadanda Natha, master of this universe. Because it is controlled by Brahma, therefore each universe is called Brahmanda. It is controlled by Brahma. So, in the Brahma Samhita we get information, Jagadanda Natha, plural number. There are many, many thousands Jagadanda, not only one Brahma. Many millions of Brahma, many millions of Shiva, many millions of Vishnu, many millions of sun, because there are many millions of universes. Now just imagine, this is material creation. And that material creation, Krishna says, ekang sina sthito jagat. Taking all the material universes, it is only 1/4 creation of the Lord. And the 3/4 creation is the spiritual world. Just imagine what is spiritual world. And in that spiritual, the topmost planet is Goloka. So, you cannot go even the moon planet. How you can go to that spiritual planet, penetrating the material coverings, coming to the spiritual effulgence, Brahma, and after all this universes, then therefore it is said, Panthastu koti satavastra sampragamya, koti satavastra, millions of years. If you go with your Sputnik, with full force, Kanthastu koti satavastra, not this Sputnik, but make your planes of mind speed. This is material speed. What is this speed? Few thousands, 20,000, 50,000. But do you know mind speed? You are sitting here, and immediately within a second you can go to India. This is mind speed. Immediately. So, panthastu koti satavassa sampragamma vayorathapi. By the air speed or mind speed. Vayorathapi manaso munipungava. And driven by great scientists, Munipungava. Pungava means very expert, not a Pungava. So, big scientists, expert scientists, if they can discover airplane which is running on mind speed or air speed, they cannot go by the air speed. They fly on the air, but not with the air speed. So in this way, still, avichinta tatte, after going many millions of years in that speed, still you will find, Goloka Vrindavan is far. This is the position. So, that Krishna, and we are explaining what is Krishna. Don't consider Krishna is ordinary human being. Avajananti mang mudha manusim tanumasita. Because he kindly appears before us, just like ordinary human being. Don't think that he is like us. It is the conclusion. Just like these rascals, they think that because Krishna appeared as a human being, I am also God. I am also God. Why Krishna shall be alone God? So I am trying to explain what is Krishna, Rishikesh. Rishikesh, that Goloka Nami, Goloka eva nivasati okilatma bhuta. Goloka eva nivasati. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitavi. Stabhij eva nija rupataya khalabhi. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuto govindamadi purusham tamang bhajan. So our worship is very simple. Tamahang bhajan. We worship that Govinda, Adi Purusham, Govindam Adi Purusham, Tamahang bhajan. We don't worship ordinary so-called rascals. We worship Govinda. How Govinda is? The Govinda description is Brahma Samhita. That Govinda, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavi. He is always in the spiritual world, which is Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Not this kind of Ananda, Chinmaya Ananda. Spiritual bliss. Spiritual bliss means it is continually going on. Still, nobody is fed up. Here you can accept any Ananda in this material world. So many things. It cannot go on very long time. Suppose if I give Rasgulla, one Rasgulla you can take, very nice. Another very nice. Another nice. So, the next 4 or 5, no, I don't. Finish. Similarly, any Ananda you can take. Sex life. It cannot be continued. Finish. So try to understand what is Chinmaya Ananda. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibha. It then never ends. It goes, Nava, one after another, new. Just try to understand what is spiritual bliss. You do not, the Sahajiyas, they accept this material bliss as spiritual bliss. That is called Sahajiya. Don't be Sahajiyas. Try to understand according to Shastra. So, Krishna is described. This is how he becomes Rishikesh. The Goloka eva nivasati. He is enjoying with his associates, the cowherds boy, the gopis, in Golokanam, in Nijadham. He is enjoying that. At the same time, he is within your heart. This is Krishna. Rishikesh. He can simultaneously not only within your heart, within the atom. Andantarastham paramanuchayantarastham govindamadipurusham. Not only within your heart, but within the atom. Just imagine how many atoms there are. The Krishna is everywhere. We have to take information of Krishna from the Shastra. Shastrameva chakkhusyat Vedanta Sutta. Your eyes should be Shastra, not your so-called imagination. Shastra chakkhusyat. Jasastra vidhimutsujya bhartate kama. If you give up the direction of the Shastra and manufacture your own way, jasastra vidhimutsujya bhartate kama karam, as you like, then no siddhim savapnati. You will never get siddhi, perfection. Never get. No siddhim savap, no sukham, neither happiness. And what to speak of paragati, going back to home, back to earth. So Shastra, so Kusha. Everything we have to take from the Shastra. Because we are blind now. Shastra Chakusha, the Shastra Gyan, because the spiritual master enlightens the disciple with Shastra Gyan, therefore he is spiritual master. If the spiritual master blocks the disciple, then he is not spiritual master. Bluffing. No. Ajnanati minandasya jnananjana salakaya chakshur militam jena tasmai sri gurave. This is Guru. Guru means he will always enlighten the disciples with the light of Shastra. Not that he will say, there is no need of Shastra. I am incarnation, whatever speak, you take it. No, that is rascal. You should immediately, who has no reference to the Shastra, immediately take him as a rascal number one. This is the conclusion. So, here is Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Rishikesh. We have already explained one day. Here also, again we are explaining. Rishikesh, Krishna. Krishna is there. He never leaves from Vrindavan. He is there. Why? Here also, just like we see a very rich man, very influential man, the president, he lives in the queen. She is in the Buckingham Palace. But she cannot go at the same time anywhere and everywhere. No. She is packed up in Buckingham Palace. Krishna is not like that. Therefore he is Rishikesh. Try to understand the distinction between Krishna and others. Krishna is Goloka eva nivasati akhila atma bhuto. Atma bhuta. This atma bhuta is Rishikesh. He is giving intelligence. The more you become purified, the more you get direct instruction from Rishikesh. This is what. So, how you can become purified? Purified means no more influenced by the modes of material nature. That is explained Gurakesha. Guraka Isha. Guraka means darkness. And Isha, when you become master of this material world, or material senses. This material world means material senses, that's all. So if you become a master of the material senses, then you become Gurakesha. The Arjuna is described here as Gurakesha. Arjuna, don't take Arjuna that he was mistaken. No. He cannot be. How he can be? He is constantly with Krishna. How he can be misdirected? No, that is not possible. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andhakar. So Guraka means darkness, Maya. So Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Andhakar. The darkness and light is there always, side by side. We have got experience. Here is sunlight, here is darkness. So these two things are there. So, Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andhakar, Jaha Krishna Taha Nahi Mayar Adhikar. Wherever there is Krishna, there is no jurisdiction of darkness or Maya. Devi Desha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durattaya Mameva ja prapadante mayamitaantaranti. You can become immediately out of the scope of Maya if you always remain surrendered to Krishna. Maya will not touch you. Just like if you remain always in the sunshine, there is no question of night. Nowadays, it is very easy. If you simply drive your plane on the western side, you'll never get night. You just roundabout. Yes, it is just like it is materially possible. You drive your plane simply on the western side. Start your plane in the morning and go to the western side and don't stop it. You go on for 3, 4, as many days as you like. You'll never get night. This is practical. Similarly, if you keep always with Krishna, you are Gurakesha. You'll never get darkness. Or Maya will not touch you. This is Krishna consciousness. So try to become Gurakesh. The next verse, Krishna, Rishikesh. So he knew the Sarvasya Chahang Ridhisannavishta. Krishna is there. Krishna knows what is your purpose, what you want to do, what is your past, future, everything Krishna knows. Everything Krishna knows. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedaham samiti itani. I know everything. So Krishna sthapayitta. Rathottamam sthapayitta. As soon as Arjuna asked him, Senaya rubhayan madhye ratha sthapayame uchchuta. Immediately he carried out the order and he knew why he wants. He wanted to see with whom I have to find my friends and relatives. He is hesitating. So why this ignorance of Arjuna? The question may be, the Krishna, Arjuna is Gurakesha. He is above this material world. How he is being affected by his so-called relatives and kinsmen. He was hesitating to fight on this principle that they are my relatives, they are my kinsmen, they are my family members. He was always thinking. Therefore Krishna knew it. So he has become so family-wise infected, but he is Gurakesh. How it is possible? He is above all these things. Yes, he is above all these things. By Krishna's desire, he is playing like that, ordinary man. Otherwise, how Bhagavad Gita will come? Krishna cannot talk with ordinary person. Krishna cannot fight with ordinary person. Even the demons, when they come, just like Hiranyakha, Hiranyakashipu, they were joy vijay in the Vaikuntha world. So they came here, and Krishna asked them that if you become my enemy, then within 3 births you'll come back. And if you remain friend, then 7 births. So they prepared, I shall become your enemy, sir, so that I can come back again after 3 births. So, why? The Krishna has all the propensities, just like we sometimes want to fight, mock fight. So in the Vaikuntha world there cannot be any fight. So because Krishna wanted to exercise his fighting spirit, he sent his devotee. He became enemy and he fought. So you have to understand Krishna in that way. Rishikesha, he knows that unless Arjuna become affected family-wise, how Bhagavad Gita will be there. Therefore, although Gurakesha, Arjuna is above darkness, still by the will of Krishna, Rishikesha, he played just like ordinary man, affected with his family affection. Therefore Krishna, in the next verse, says, Uvacha, Krishna said, my dear Partha, now you wanted to see with whom you have to fight. Now here is Bhishma, Drona, and many other kings, all the descendants of Kuru dynasty, your Dhritarashtra's son. Now you see very nicely and be prepared to fight with them. So this is the explanation of Rishikesh and Gurak. Thank you very much.
This was a very deep class, I think, by Srila Prabhupada. Very, very deep. Just on the explanation of Hrishikesha and Gudakesha, he went through some really, really deep points in this lecture. Took us on a ride for sure, and then brought us back down to ground level. Amazing. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Would like to ask devotees, do you have any takeaways, any comments that you'd like to share? Please do raise your hand, or you can just jump right in, or you can put a post in the chat, but would like to hear your takeaways. Yes, Nitya Gopal, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Except
As you
Manoj
mentioned,
Prabhupada.
this was Jai Srila Prabhupada. As you mentioned, this was wonderful ride explaining the Gudakesh and Rishikesh.
Yeah.
So wonderfully, as Srila Prabhupada was mentioning, Arjun is not like someone ordinary because the Lord is speaking with him. He's Gudakesh. I was just looking at Gudakesh is like one who can control the sleep.
Yeah.
And the way it's explained, sleep is like ignorance, which is material world. So Arjun is like above, Srila Prabhupada was mentioning Arjun is above the material world. But Rishikesh can control his senses because Rishikesh is the control of the senses.
Yes.
I mean, that was like a wonderful definition, and how both definition not depend but works together, Rishikesh and Gudakesh. Like Krishna is the controller of the senses, that's why he's called Rishikesh. And he's like controlling, Gudakesh is controller, even though he is above the material nature. In order to speak the Bhagavad Gita, that's what I get, Mataji.
No, it's a very good point, because I was remembering that because actually, if you remember the pastime of Dronacharya, he blessed Arjuna, right? That if you remember, he got some blessings, and one of us, you'll never be tired, you'll never be in the mode of ignorance and sleepy and all. Yeah, so it's very much in the line of what you just mentioned, Gudakesh. Remember that? Yeah. And
so that's the Gudakesh.
Yes, is how to not be caught in the mode of ignorance, like you mentioned. And you're right, there is definitely a correlation between between Hrishikesh and Gudakesh.
Correct.
Because Gudakesh is the master of the material senses, but Hrishikesh is the controller of the master of the material senses.
Correct.
He's above everything. Yeah. So they're very much related. Absolutely, yes. Wonderful way of how you put that together, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing that. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Very, very
Yeah,
nice.
at the end, Srila Prabhupada mentions, because unless, Lord controls Arjun's senses, the point to speak the Bhagavad Gita will not come. That at the end, Srila Prabhupada mentions.
Yes. It's interesting, right? Because he said,
Yeah,
unless Arjun becomes affected by family wise, how will the Bhagavad
exactly.
Gita be there? Exactly.
Right, right.
Amazing how everything is planned by Rishikesh. Everything is planned by the Lord, really amazing.
Wonderful.
Pretty
Each
good.
lecture is, unique rasa Srila Prabhupada gives us.
Srila Prabhupada has a way, I tell you, he's really pure, Nitya Siddha, no doubt about that. Amazing, amazing, beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes,
Mandip Prabhu is listening with me also. He came to, he wanted to know how
nice.
to wear dresses. So he's also here, Mandip Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Mandip,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, accept my obeisance, Organs of Prabhupada. Nice to hear that you're there.
My
sharing-
obeisances as well.
Yeah, it's nice that you're there to
Krishna.
hear the class. It's really, really amazing.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I have another takeaway that
Sure.
he's saying, regarding the scriptures, that if you deviate and if you manufacture your own ways, then you can never really attain any perfection.
Yeah,
So I thought that was pretty deep. As far as,
very deep.
Very
Yeah.
small sentence. It was just like a fluently said, but very deep meanings
Yeah.
behind each and every sentence.
Yeah, if we just deviate and create our own, we've heard this term used by Prabhupada quite a bit, whimsical. If we deviate and use our own whimsical conclusion to Prabhupada's words, then we'll never get perfection. It's very true. We'll just be watering it down, pretty much. Yeah, that was a nice one too, Mandeep. Thank you for sharing that takeaway.
Thank you.
Really powerful. Very nice. Yes. Yes, Pritchard, my husband, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Accept my obeisances, God Srila Prabhupada. Couple of takeaways. Some of them have already been mentioned, but I have a couple of takeaways. When Srila Prabhupada was describing how things go on in the spiritual world, Ananda Chinmaya Ras, spiritual bliss, and then he said that is continuous. Even here in the material world, you say something is nice or sweet, and he gave an example. You get one sweet, you eat it, this very nice, another one. By the time you get to 4 or 5, you feel like stopping. Anything you do too much of, the body can't handle it. The senses can't handle it. But in the spiritual world, it says Ananda Chinmaya, spiritual bliss, and that's continuous. One after another, newer. New things coming out. So that is continuous enjoyment, and that's possible in the spiritual world. So that's one of the things. And then another thing, may not be an issue here, but I'll still mention it. Srila Prabhupada said in talking to Jai and Vijay, the Lord said, if you become my enemy in the material world, you can come back, go back to the spiritual world after 3 births. And if you become my friend, you can come back after 7 births. And then they said, we'll be your enemy so that you can go back after 3 births. And that's also a takeaway. That was a very, very good takeaway for me personally, because I've been in other situations with devotees. We're not quite sure that this conversation was actually made, that if you want to be a friend in the material world, then you come back after 7 births. And if you want to be an enemy, this is the Jai and Vijay. The Lord was saying you can come back after 3 births. There has been, not here, but there has been in another situation where the devotees were discussing an issue. Some people said they weren't quite sure. And now I've heard from Srila Prabhupada's own mouth this statement. So I'm very happy about that. So then the next time I see a devotee that has an issue concerning this particular before the pastime happened with Jai and Vijay, then I'll say, yep, it isn't here. You go to this particular text in the Bhagavad Gita, the commentary, the class, you hear Srila Prabhupada tell you.
Yeah.
So that was good. Hare Krishna. That's all.
That was a really nice takeaway. Yes, really powerful that you know. And amazing how Jai Vijay, they wanted to come back quickly, so they didn't mind taking the role of an enemy, because as long as they can come back to their Lord, you know, quicker than being a friend, they didn't care. So that shows how surrendered, you know, like if we had the desire to want to come back quicker to the Lord, we'll do anything, and we'll take anything as long as we can go back to the Lord quicker. That was nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yes. Any other takeaways from devotees? Any thoughts, reflections? One thing that I, in addition to what Nitya Gopal Prabhu shared and Mandeep shared and Parikshit Prabhu shared, is one of the takeaways that I had was when Prabhupada said somewhere, you know, towards the end, but a little bit further up, Prabhupada says, purified means, and I had to write it down because it was so powerful for me. He says, purified means no more influenced by the modes of material nature. And that really struck me pretty hard as a simple sentence. But you know, sometimes, you know, devotees, when we go through stuff in our lives, we say, man, I'm being purified, man, I'm going through purification, man, I'm burning my karma, you know. But then when we go through the purification, it's like we are being cleansed, you know, training to be detached from the modes of material nature. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying is, when we are no more influenced by the modes of material nature, then we can say we are completely purified. So that was a very, very deep sentence for me. Really deep, that I was really appreciating that point. I mean, it's pretty powerful, yes. Yes, Nitya Gopal.
Yeah, that's true. And like I mentioned, one who goes above the inputs of material nature is kind of liberated person.
Yes. And that was a very, you know, simple sentence, but it goes real deep. So, you know, for me, you know, there's quite a bit more purification. So this is Krishna's arrangement, Krishna's mercy. But yes, that was a very strong point for me too.
Right
Yes.
now, one point Prabhupada was mentioning was, I will not touch if one takes the sincere surrender at lotus feet of Krishna.
Yes.
I will not touch him.
Yes. It's so nice, you know, when we hear Srila Prabhupada, it's like amazing. We get so many realizations and so beautifully explained, yet so simple. Yes, Colby.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Haribol.
Congratulations on getting your camera fixed.
Thank you. It was only a little latch that I never could figure out. Like a literally a 0.1 inch move. And I didn't see it, but you know, talk about material stuff, but yes.
Very good. There's just one thing I have a little concern with. I'm having a hard time digesting his comments on the moon. Could you maybe, is he doesn't believe that we went to the moon? He doesn't believe that it's
He doesn't believe, no, nobody went to the moon. Nobody went to the moon. I'll have Parikshit answer that, because he actually heard a lecture and a video, I think, of Prabhupada. No, people assume they went to the moon, but they never went to the moon. So I'll have Parikshit answer that, please.
Hare Krishna, humble obeisances, God, Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Srila Prabhupada explained that to go to any planet, you need permission. You don't just go in like that, especially the higher planets. You can't. So that's, of course, we don't know. He knows, and he knows a lot about the spiritual and the material world. We don't know. Now, if you search a little bit about this whole trip to the moon, you'll find out that even some of the scientists, and what convinced me even the most, was one scientist that actually brought up the point that, and he was with NASA at the time. Mm-hmm. He didn't come right out and say that we didn't go to the moon, but everything he said was easy to conclude that the spaceship couldn't have gone to the moon. He was just saying that when we move from the Earth in the spaceship, there are different types of spheres. They all got their names that you have to go through. So in order to break through those, there's one in the name, I forget the name of it. They said the temperature in there is so high that the spacecraft cannot survive that. It's not possible. And you have
like the radiation belts and whatnot.
He didn't put it like that. He mentioned one of those, spheres. That's just like the stratosphere, this sphere, all of those layers. But it was clear that when he mentioned, he just basically, because it was in NASA, they didn't want to tell people we didn't go to the moon. He just said it is not possible for the spaceship to go through that particular area and still, maintain its structure. It's going to get burned up. So clearly, when he said that, it's so clearly, if he didn't go to he couldn't have gone to the moon. There was a situation also. There's a political part of this. There was some talk about how much money was being spent in the space program prior to this moon, expedition, if you like. There was quite a bit of talk about why so much money was being spent on the space program. And so, again, there's mention that in order to inspire, or get people all very excited about the space program, this moon was planned, this moon trip was planned. And again, one more point, if you've gone to the moon, how come they haven't gone back all these years? They know how to do it. I mean, what's wrong with doing the second time or a third time? We never heard that. It's just once, and that's it. Then there's also some videos that show where they landed. Some things just don't add up. They go into a discussion of the shadows, and where they see they landed, the whole video, some things just simply don't add up. Again, I haven't just memorized these things, but if you go on YouTube and just do the opposite of we didn't go to the moon, you'll be surprised at what you'll find out. So Prabhupada was actually proven right, but he was just talking from a point of view of Shastra. And one more thing about the distance.
Yeah.
And he knew that it was 1.3 million miles between the sun and the moon. 1.6 million?
Yeah.
Okay. Then they said even if you take man's calculation, that from the earth to the sun is 93 million. Then so you have to go, the space you got to go 93 million, and then at 1.6, so it's 94.6 million, there sits the moon. This is another lecture. So you couldn't even go there. So he's also used distance to make the point. But one of the things anybody that thinks through this will say, gee, you went to the moon one time and you've never been back. And Russians never ever claimed they went to the moon. Nobody ever claimed they went to the moon. There's one talk, one moon expedition, and the vehicles that you use, they're still there. What stops you from going again? Okay, it never happened again. So that also, that's a weak case, but still a suspicious one. So see, from several ways of looking at it. The one that really convinced me was that person from NASA that mentioned that the spaceship simply can't go through the kind of atmosphere if they want to really go to the moon. So it wasn't, if they went anywhere, it was not the moon. It was not the moon. As disappointing as it may be to some people who hear that. Hare Krishna. But Kobe, we're not material world, we're not too concerned about it. We're trying to go back home. We're trying to go back. That's the most important thing. So that you have to remember. Hare Krishna.
Hope that helped, Kobe.
Yes, it is.
Yes. In fact, there's one point that I wanted to also, that I remember hearing from one of the lectures by Srila Prabhupada and also by this person from the NASA, that Baba Prabhupada said that there are human beings that live on the moon. And if you look at the pictures that we saw people took, some assumed that it went to the moon, it was just darkness. It was just, bare land. But Srila Prabhupada says there are living beings in every planet, including the sun planet, including the moon planet. There are living beings, but the pictures didn't show anything. And also, we cannot survive in the moon planet because it's very, 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 very cold. Very cold, Srila Prabhupada said, very, 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 very cold. So there was, just like how the sun planet is fiery hot, the moon planet is very cold, and living beings from the earth cannot survive. Like they just cannot survive the moon planet. But yeah, so that was one of it. So yeah, and I know there is a book written by one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, Sadhuputta Das. He passed away many years ago, and he's a very intelligent scientist, and he has written a book, completely scientific, mathematical, concluding that human beings never went to the moon. And I need to find that book. I just got to crack my head and ask one of the Prabhupada disciples, but there is a book that he wrote about that. If I find that, I can definitely let you know, Colby, if you want to read more about it.
I would be very interested, yeah.
Sure. Let me ask Balabhadra Prabhu or Vishnugadha Prabhu. I'm sure they know which book it is. I'm sure, but yeah. So that was a nice question, though. Very, very good question. Thank you for asking that. Any other questions, any other comments, any other reflections? And just a humble reminder that tomorrow morning we have class by His Holiness Chandramali Swami. So it'll be at 7 o'clock in the morning because he's not back in Europe yet. I think he's still in India. So it's at 7 o'clock in the morning. So we ask devotees to please join us tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock for our Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Chandramali Swami. Until then, thank you all so much for your wonderful contribution and your sharing and your thoughts and reflections, realizations. So I really appreciate this discussion so we all can learn from each other. And have a wonderful evening. Vanchakarapatibhyascha kripasindhaveva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.